Before we begin, I need you to do something. If you are here because you are tired of surface-level faith, if you are ready for God to actually move in your life, write enlarge in the comments right now, not later, now. Let that word be your first act of surrender tonight. Now let us begin. There is a prayer you have been avoiding. You have not avoided it because you do not believe in prayer. You have avoided it because you know, somewhere deep, somewhere unspoken, that if you pray this prayer, everything changes. And change, beloved, is terrifying. Even when you are exhausted by where you are, even when you are desperate for breakthrough, even when you know that staying the same is slowly suffocating you, change is still terrifying, because change requires you to let go of what is familiar, and familiar, even when it is painful, feels safer than unknown. So you have been praying safe prayers. God bless me. God help me. God be with me. And those prayers are good. Those prayers are right. Those prayers keep you connected to God. But beloved, those prayers do not dismantle your life. They do not rearrange your world. They do not require you to become someone you have never been. Safe prayers ask God to improve your circumstances. Dangerous prayers ask God to rebuild your capacity. Safe prayers want comfort. Dangerous prayers want transformation. Safe prayers keep you where you are, just slightly better. Dangerous prayers move you into territory you have never occupied. And the prayer we are praying tonight is dangerous. This is not a prayer for the faint of heart. This is not a prayer for people who want God to make them comfortable. This is a prayer for people who are ready to be undone, rebuilt, and repositioned. This is a prayer for people who are tired of living beneath their calling and are willing to be stretched beyond their current capacity. And if that is not you tonight, you can leave. I mean that with all sincerity. Because what we are about to do is invite God to move in ways you cannot control, predict, or manage. And if you are not ready for that, this prayer will undo you in ways you are not prepared for. But if you are ready, if you are tired of playing it safe with God, then stay. Because tonight, we are praying the prayer that changed a man's entire lineage. His name was Jabez. You have probably never heard of him. He appears in Scripture for exactly 4 verses. 4 verses buried in the middle of a genealogy that most people skip. 1 Chronicles chapter 4. A list of names no one can pronounce, lineages no one remembers, and right there in the middle of all that forgettable history is a man who prayed a prayer so dangerous, so audacious, so faith-filled, that God stopped the narrative to record it. Here is what he prayed. Oh, that you would bless me indeed and enlarge my territory, that your hand would be with me, and that you would keep me from evil, that I may not cause pain. 4 requests, 1 prayer, entire life rewritten. And before you dismiss this as an Old Testament prosperity prayer, before you roll your eyes at what sounds like selfish ambition dressed in religious language, let me tell you what this prayer actually is. This is not a prayer for more stuff. This is a prayer for more capacity. This is not a prayer for comfort. This is a prayer for expansion. This is not a prayer to avoid suffering. This is a prayer to steward blessing without becoming a source of harm. Jabez did not pray, God, make me rich. He prayed, God, enlarge my territory. And territory is not just land. Territory is influence. Territory is impact. Territory is the scope of what God can trust you with. Territory is the width and depth of your life's reach. And beloved, the reason most of us do not see the increase we pray for is not because God is withholding it. It is because our current territory, our current capacity, our current character, our current surrender cannot hold it. You have been praying for increase. But increase without expansion is overflow, and overflow without stewardship is waste. A cup can only hold so much water before it spills. A field can only produce so much fruit before it becomes barren. A life can only carry so much blessing before it collapses under the weight of what it was not prepared to steward. So God is not giving you what you are asking for until He enlarges the vessel that will carry it. And enlargement, beloved, is painful, because enlargement requires stretching. Enlargement requires breaking old structures. Enlargement requires letting go of identities that no longer fit. Enlargement requires you to become comfortable with discomfort, familiar with the unfamiliar, at peace with the process of being rebuilt. You cannot enlarge a wineskin without tearing it first. You cannot enlarge a territory without leaving behind the borders you have been living within. You cannot enlarge a life without dismantling the version of yourself that could only handle the smaller version. And most people are not willing to be torn. Most people are not willing to leave. Most people would rather stay small and safe than become large and exposed. But Jabez was not most people. Jabez was born in pain. His name literally means pain. His mother named him after the suffering his birth caused her. Every time someone spoke his name, they were not greeting him. They were reciting his trauma. Pain, pain, pain. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine carrying a name that declared your origin story before you even had a chance to write your own? Most people born into that kind of narrative stay in it. Most people let their beginning define their ending. Most people believe that the pain they were born into is the pain they are destined to carry forever. But Jabez refused. He looked at the name he was given, the story he inherited, the identity that was imposed on him, and he prayed a prayer that rewrote the script. Oh, that you would bless me indeed. Not, God, remove my pain. Not, God, explain my pain. Not, God, make sense of my pain. But God, bless me in spite of my pain. Bless me beyond my pain. Bless me so profoundly that my pain becomes the birthplace of my purpose. Do you see the shift? Jabez did not pray for his circumstances to change. He prayed for God's favor to override his circumstances. He prayed for blessing to become bigger than his backstory. He prayed for his future to silence his past. And beloved, that is what this prayer does. It does not erase where you came from. It enlarges where you are going. It does not deny your pain, it redeems it. It does not pretend you have not been hurt. It declares that your hurt will not have the final word. But here is what you need to understand. This prayer requires honesty. You cannot pray, "Bless me indeed," if you are still pretending you do not need blessing. You cannot pray, "Enlarge my territory," if you are still clinging to smallness as humility. You cannot pray, "Keep me from evil," if you are still flirting with compromise. This prayer exposes you. It reveals what you are really hungry for. It surfaces what you are really willing to surrender. It brings into the light every hidden hesitation, every quiet doubt, every unspoken fear that maybe, just maybe, you are not ready for what you are asking for. And that is why most people do not pray it, because they know that if they pray it, God will answer. And His answer will not be comfortable. His answer will be assignment. His answer will be elevation that requires transformation. His answer will be a yes that feels like an upheaval before it feels like a victory. And transformation, beloved, feels like death before it feels like life. It feels like losing yourself before you find yourself. It feels like breaking down before you break through. It feels like the end before it reveals itself as the beginning. So let me ask you plainly before we go any further, are you willing to die to who you have been in order to become who you are called to be? Because that is what this prayer demands, not death as punishment, death as portal. Death to the old wineskin so the new wine has room to pour. Death to the version of yourself that could only handle the life you have been living. Death to the self-protective strategies that have kept you safe, but also kept you small. And if you are not ready for that, do not pray this prayer. Close this video. Walk away. Come back when you are desperate enough for God to move that you are willing to let Him rearrange everything. But if you are ready, if you are tired of living beneath your calling, if you are exhausted by smallness, if you are ready for God to do what only God can do, then stay. Because tonight, we are not praying safe prayers. We are praying the prayer that undoes, enlarges, and repositions. And beloved, there is no going back from this. But here is the beautiful, terrifying truth. You were never meant to go back. You were meant to go forward, into more, into deeper, into wider, into the fullness of what God has already destined for you before you were even born. And the only thing standing between you and that fullness is your willingness to pray a prayer that changes everything. So before we continue, I need you to decide. Are you praying this prayer to see what happens, or are you praying this prayer because you are ready for whatever happens? Because God does not answer curiosity, He answers commitment. He does not move on behalf of casual interest. He moves on behalf of surrendered trust. And if you are committed, if you are all in, then place your hand on your chest right now. Feel your heartbeat. That rhythm is the sound of life, the sound of presence, the sound of God sustaining you even in this moment. And with every breath say this: God, I am ready, not ready to understand, ready to obey, not ready to control, ready to surrender, not ready to manage, ready to trust. Say it again: God, I am ready. Because, beloved, readiness is not the absence of fear. Readiness is the decision to move forward in spite of fear. Readiness is not certainty. Readiness is willingness. And tonight, you are moving forward into a prayer that will enlarge you, a prayer that will expose you, a prayer that will reposition you. And when you wake up tomorrow, you will not be the same person you were when you started this prayer. That is not a metaphor. That is a promise. Because the prayer of Jabez is not a formula, it is a surrender. And surrender always leads to transformation, so let us begin. Not with hesitation, not with doubt, but with holy audacity. The kind of audacity that looks at impossibility and says, enlarge. The kind of audacity that looks at limitation and says, expand. The kind of audacity that looks at fear and says, I am praying it anyway. Beloved, this is your moment. Do not waste it on safe prayers. Let us break down this dangerous prayer. 4 requests, 4 movements, 4 invitations for God to dismantle and rebuild your life from the inside out. Each request is a doorway, and once you walk through, you cannot walk back. Request 1. Bless me indeed. This is not a polite request. This is a bold declaration. This is spiritual audacity wrapped in 2 words, indeed. Most people pray, God, if it's your will, maybe bless me a little, if you think I deserve it, if it's not too much trouble. Jabez prayed, God bless me indeed. Indeed means truly, fully, undeniably, without qualification, without apology, without the hedging and hesitation that comes from believing you are asking for too much. Indeed means not halfway, not conditional, not when I deserve it, not when I have proven myself worthy, but now, completely, abundantly. And beloved, this is not arrogance, this is faith, because God is not offended by your hunger for His blessing. He is offended by your pretense that you do not need it. He is not moved by false humility that disguises itself as piety. He is moved by honest desperation that says, God, I need you to move in my life, and I am not ashamed to ask for it. False humility says, I am not worthy. True humility says, I am not worthy, but you are gracious. False humility hides behind unworthiness as an excuse. True humility runs to grace as the reason. Jabez did not say, God, I'm not worthy, so never mind. He said, God bless me anyway. And that is the posture God responds to, not the posture of performance, not the posture of earning, the posture of believing. You believe God is able. Now pray like you believe He is willing. God, bless me indeed, not because I have earned it, but because you are good, not because I am perfect, but because you are faithful, not because I deserve it, but because you have already decided to do it. This is not presumption. This is permission. Permission to want more, permission to expect more, permission to receive more, permission to believe that God's goodness is not rationed based on your performance, but poured out based on His nature. Because, beloved, God is not holding back His blessing, waiting for you to become worthy enough to receive it. He is holding back His blessing, waiting for you to become brave enough to ask for it. And tonight, you are asking. But let me be clear. Blessing is not wealth. Blessing is not ease. Blessing is not the absence of struggle. Blessing is favor. Blessing is presence. Blessing is the inexplicable grace that allows you to thrive in places where you should have withered. Blessing is the strength to carry what would have crushed someone else. Blessing is the peace that makes no logical sense given your circumstances. Blessing is not what you have. Blessing is who is with you. And when you pray, bless me indeed, you are not asking for things. You are asking for more of Him. More of His presence, more of His favor, more of His involvement in every area of your life. And that kind of blessing changes everything. Request 2. Enlarge my territory. This is where the prayer gets dangerous, because enlargement is not addition, enlargement is multiplication. And multiplication requires you to steward what you cannot yet see, manage what you have never managed, and step into spaces you have never occupied. Jabez did not pray, "God, give me a little more." He prayed, "God, expand my borders." Borders are limitations. Borders are the edges of what you believe is possible. Borders are the invisible lines you have drawn around your life that say, "This far and no further." And most of us have been living within borders we inherited, not borders we chose. You inherited the belief that you can only go so far. You inherited the belief that certain blessings are for other people, not you. You inherited the belief that dreaming too big is pride, that asking for more is greed, that wanting expansion is selfish. You inherited the border of "be grateful for what you have," when what you have is not what God intended for you. You inherited the border of "stay in your lane" when your lane was drawn by people who were afraid of their own potential. You inherited the border of "do not get your hopes up," when hope is the very thing that keeps you moving toward what God has promised. And those borders have kept you small. But beloved, God did not create you for smallness. He created you for kingdom impact. He created you to occupy space, to influence lives, to carry weight, to steward resources, to make decisions that ripple into eternity. And kingdom impact requires expanded territory. So when you pray, "Enlarge my territory," you are not asking for comfort. You are asking for assignment. You are not asking for ease. You are asking for responsibility. You are not asking for a bigger life so you can live more comfortably. You are asking for a bigger life so you can serve more effectively. And responsibility, beloved, is heavy, which is why most people do not want it. Most people want the benefits of enlarged territory without the burden of it. They want the influence without the accountability. They want the platform without the pressure. They want the increase without the stewardship. But that is not how kingdom enlargement works. Enlarged territory means more people depending on you. Enlarged territory means more decisions to make. Enlarged territory means more weight to carry. Enlarged territory means more opportunities to fail. And that is terrifying. But here is what you must understand. God will not give you more territory until you are ready to steward it. And being ready does not mean being perfect. It means being surrendered. It means saying, "God, I do not know how to manage what you are about to give me. But I trust you to teach me. I do not know how to lead in spaces I have never been. But I trust you to guide me. I do not know how to carry the weight of what is coming, but I trust that your strength will be made perfect in my weakness." That is faith. That is readiness. That is the posture that unlocks enlargement. But let me warn you, when God enlarges your territory, He does not just give you more. He takes you into unfamiliar spaces. He stretches you beyond your current capacity. He puts you in rooms you have never been in, with people you have never met, carrying weight you have never carried. And it will feel overwhelming. It will feel like too much, like you are in over your head, like you made a mistake asking for this. But overwhelming is not the same as impossible. Overwhelming is the feeling of expansion. And expansion always feels like too much before it feels like enough. Your current capacity was built for your current territory. But God is building new capacity for new territory, and the transition between the two feels like chaos. But it is not chaos, it is construction. So if you pray this prayer and suddenly your life feels bigger, harder, more complex, do not panic. That is not punishment. That is answered prayer. God is enlarging you, and enlargement is never comfortable. but it is always worth it. Request 3. That your hand would be with me. This is the request that keeps the prayer from becoming reckless. Because enlarged territory without God's presence is just more burden. More responsibility without more grace is collapse. More opportunity without more anointing is disaster. Jabez knew this, which is why he did not just pray for blessing and expansion. He prayed for presence. God, go with me into the bigger life you are giving me. And beloved, this is crucial, because the enemy will try to convince you that the enlargement is proof that you no longer need God, that you have arrived, that you can manage it from here. The enemy will whisper, "Look how far you have come. You did this. You are capable now. You do not need to depend on him like you used to. You have the skills, the resources, the experience. You can handle this on your own." And the moment you believe that lie, you lose the very thing that made the enlargement possible, his hand. Your hand, God. Not my effort, not my strategy, not my intelligence, not my networking, not my hard work. Your hand. The hand that parts seas when there is no visible way forward. The hand that topples walls that should be immovable. The hand that holds stars in place and holds your life together at the same time. The hand that reaches into impossibility and pulls out provision. That hand. And when that hand is with you, you do not have to fear the size of what you are stepping into. Because the one who is with you is bigger than anything you will face. But you must remember this. God's hand is with you, not ahead of you. He does not go first and wait for you to catch up. He does not clear the path and then watch from a distance. He walks with you, step by step, breath by breath, decision by decision. Which means you do not get the map, you get the guide. And if you are someone who needs to see the whole plan before you move, this will frustrate you. If you are someone who needs guarantees before you step, this will feel insufficient. But if you are someone who has learned to trust the guide more than the map, this will liberate you. Because, beloved, you do not need to know what is coming. You only need to know who is with you, and he is with you, not just in the victory, in the process, not just in the breakthrough, in the waiting, not just in the arrival, in the journey. His hand is with you. Request 4. Keep me from evil, that I may not cause pain. This is the request most people skip. But it is the most important, because Jabez understood something that most of us forget. Blessing without character is dangerous. You can have enlarged territory and still be a source of harm. You can have influence and still wound people. You can have abundance and still destroy lives. You can have success and still lose your soul. Jabez knew this. His name meant pain. He was born into suffering. He carried the weight of that identity his entire life, and he did not want to perpetuate it. So he prayed, "God, keep me from evil," not just external evil, internal evil, the kind of evil that would make me a source of pain to others. This is holy self-awareness. This is recognizing that the enemy does not just attack from outside. He infiltrates from within, through pride, through greed, through bitterness, through unhealed wounds that turn into weapons. And if you are not vigilant, the blessing will corrupt you. You will start to believe you deserve it. You will start to look down on people who do not have it. You will start to use your influence to control instead of serve. You will start to hoard instead of steward. You will start to crush instead of lift. And the thing God gave you to bless others becomes the thing you use to harm them. So Jabez prayed for protection, not just protection from harm, protection from becoming harmful. And beloved, this is the prayer that keeps you humble in increase. This is the prayer that keeps you dependent in enlargement. This is the prayer that ensures that what God gives you does not destroy you. Because the size of your blessing is not the measure of your maturity. The way you steward your blessing is. So tonight, as you pray this dangerous prayer, you are also praying, God, do not let success make me cruel. Do not let influence make me arrogant. Do not let abundance make me selfish. Do not let enlargement make me harmful. Keep me, guard me. Protect me from the version of myself that could use what you give me to wound instead of heal. That is wisdom. That is maturity. That is the kind of prayer that God rushes to answer, because He is not just looking for people who want more. He is looking for people who can handle more without losing their souls. And beloved, you are becoming that person. Here is what happened after Jabez prayed. The Bible says, "And God granted him what he requested." Not some of it, not eventually. Not conditionally, not partially. God granted it, all of it. Blessing, enlargement, presence, protection, fully, completely, without hesitation. And Jabez's life was never the same. But beloved, let me tell you what the Bible does not say. It does not say his life became easy. It does not say the enlargement came without challenge. It does not say the blessing came without cost. It does not say he never struggled again. It just says, God granted it. And that is what you need to understand about this prayer. When you pray it, God will answer, but His answer will look like assignment, not arrival. His answer will look like expansion, not ease. His answer will look like new territory to steward, not a vacation from responsibility. You will not wake up tomorrow with everything solved. You will wake up with new capacity, new territory, new responsibility, new anointing, new opportunities, new challenges, and you will have to steward it all. The doors will open, but you will have to walk through them. The opportunities will come, but you will have to say yes to them. The blessing will arrive, but you will have to manage it wisely. The territory will expand, but you will have to occupy it faithfully. This is not a magic prayer, this is a covenant prayer, and covenant always requires participation. God does His part, you do yours. God grants the territory, you occupy it. God provides the blessing, you steward it. God opens the door, you walk through it. God enlarges your capacity, you step into it. But here is the promise: when you step into the life God enlarges for you, He does not leave you to figure it out alone. His hand is with you. Every step, every decision, every hard moment, every overwhelming day, every impossible situation, His hand. And beloved, that is enough. You do not need to know how it will all work out. You just need to know that the one who is with you has already worked it out. You do not need to see the whole plan. You just need to see the next step. You do not need to have all the answers. You just need to have the guide. But let me also prepare you for this. When your life changes, not everyone will celebrate. Some people will be confused by your growth. Some will be threatened by your enlargement. Some will call your boldness arrogance. Some will say you have changed, and they will not mean it as a compliment. They will say, you are not the same person anymore. You have gotten too big for your old life. You think you are better than us now. You have forgotten where you came from. And they will be right. You have changed. Because you prayed a prayer that demanded change. You prayed a prayer that invited transformation. You prayed a prayer that required you to outgrow the version of yourself that could only handle the smaller territory, and now you are living in the answer to that prayer. So do not shrink back to make others comfortable. Do not apologize for the expansion God gave you. Do not dim your light because someone else is still afraid of theirs. Do not reduce yourself to fit into spaces you have outgrown. You prayed for enlargement. Own it, but own it with humility. Own it with gratitude. Own it with the awareness that everything you have is because God granted it, not because you earned it. Own it with the recognition that your elevation is not about you. It is about the kingdom work you are being positioned to do. And when people ask how your life turned around, do not give them a formula. Give them a testimony. I prayed a dangerous prayer, and God answered. That is all. That is enough, because the prayer of Jabez is not a secret technique. It is not a magic incantation. It is a posture of faith. And faith, beloved, is contagious. When people see you living in enlarged territory, walking in blessing, stewarding increase with integrity, carrying responsibility with grace, they will want what you have. Not your stuff, your surrender. Not your success, your trust. Not your platform, your posture. Not your influence, your intimacy with God. And your surrender will lead them to their own dangerous prayer. Your transformation will give them permission to pursue theirs. Your enlargement will inspire them to stop settling for smallness. But here is what you must also know. The life that comes after this prayer is not a life without resistance. The enemy does not celebrate your enlargement. He resents it, and he will fight you for every inch of the territory God is giving you. He will attack your confidence. He will question your worthiness. He will remind you of every failure. He will magnify every mistake. He will whisper that you do not belong in the spaces you are occupying. And beloved, you need to be ready for that fight, because enlargement always invites opposition. Expansion always attracts resistance. And the bigger your territory becomes, the louder the enemy's voice will be. But here is what you must remember. The enemy does not fight for what he already has. He fights for what he is losing. And when he comes after your peace, your confidence, your clarity, your courage, it is not because you are losing, it is because he is. Every attack is evidence that you are taking ground he used to occupy. Every lie is proof that you are walking in truth he cannot tolerate. Every attempt to discourage you is confirmation that your enlargement is threatening his kingdom. So do not be surprised by the resistance. Expect it. Prepare for it. And know that resistance is not a sign that you prayed the wrong prayer. Resistance is a sign that you prayed the right one. And when the resistance comes, when the voices rise, when the doubts flood, when the opposition intensifies, you do not fight it with your own strength. You fight it with the truth you prayed. Your hand is with me. Say it out loud. Let it be your weapon. Let it be your shield. Let it be your declaration in the face of every attack. Your hand is with me. I am not alone. I am not abandoned. I am not unprotected. I am not navigating this enlarged territory by myself. Your hand is with me. And beloved, that truth will sustain you when nothing else can. But there is one more thing you need to know about the life that comes after this prayer. It is a life of continual surrender, because enlargement is not a one-time event. It is a process, and every new level of territory requires a new level of trust. You will pray this prayer once, but you will live it every day. Every day, you will have to choose blessing over bitterness. Every day, you will have to choose expansion over comfort. Every day, you will have to choose presence over self-reliance. Every day, you will have to choose integrity over shortcuts. And some days that choice will feel impossible. Some days you will want to go back to the smaller territory where things were simpler. Some days you will resent the weight of what you prayed for. And on those days, beloved, come back to this prayer. Not to pray it again as if God did not hear you the first time, but to remind yourself what you agreed to remember what you asked for, to re-anchor yourself in the truth that this enlargement is not punishment. It is answered prayer. And answered prayer does not always feel like relief. Sometimes it feels like responsibility. Sometimes it feels like risk. Sometimes it feels like more than you can handle. But it is always, always worth it. So tonight, as you close your eyes, I want you to pray this prayer one more time. Not as a wish, not as a hope, as a declaration. Place your hand on your heart. Feel the rhythm of life that God is sustaining in you even now. And with every breath, speak this truth. Inhale, God bless me indeed. Exhale, I receive it. Inhale, enlarge my territory. Exhale, I am ready. Inhale, your hand is with me. Exhale, I trust you. Inhale, keep me from evil. Exhale, guard my heart. Let that rhythm carry you into sleep. Let that truth settle into your spirit. Let that declaration become the sound that breaks what has been limiting you. Because, beloved, you are not stuck. You are not forgotten. You are not the exception. You are not too late. You are not disqualified. You are positioned. You are seen. You are loved. You are ready. And the territory that has been waiting for you is about to be occupied. Not because you are perfect, but because God is faithful. Not because you have it all figured out, but because His hand is with you. And tonight, you rest in that faithfulness. You release the need to figure it out. You release the need to control the timeline. You release the fear that it will never happen. You release the lie that you are not ready. And you receive the peace that surpasses understanding. The peace that says, even if I do not see it yet, I know it is already done. Even if I do not feel ready, I know God is preparing me. Even if I am afraid, I know His hand is with me. This is not denial. This is trust. And trust, beloved, is the door that every breakthrough walks through. So as you close your eyes tonight, know this: the dangerous prayer has been prayed. The territory is being prepared. The blessing is being released. The hand of God is moving on your behalf, not because you shouted loud enough, not because you convinced Him, but because He is faithful. And when God makes a promise, He keeps it. Sleep now, rest now, trust now. Tomorrow, you will wake up in a different spiritual position than you are in tonight, and the evidence may not be visible yet. But it is coming. The doors are unlocking, the walls are crumbling, the territory is expanding, the blessing is descending. And when it does, you will look back on this night and remember, this was the night I stopped agreeing with limitation. This was the night I stopped settling for smallness. This was the night I stopped praying safe prayers. This was the night I prayed the dangerous prayer. This was the night everything changed. And beloved, it has already begun. Amen. If you prayed this prayer tonight and you are ready for your life to change, write "Enlarge my territory" in the comments. Let it be your public declaration. Let it be your agreement with what God is already doing. Let it be your testimony before the evidence is even visible. And if you need to come back to this prayer, to this reminder that God is not afraid of your boldness, that He welcomes your audacity, that He is ready to move when you are ready to pray, press the bell, not as a routine, but as a rhythm, a return to the posture that invites God to move without limit. This is not the end, this is the beginning. Everything is about to change.